Masters of innovation.
Looking towards the future with anticipation, raising up the technological conversation from the east to the west and all across the nation. If knowledge is the cure, then we got the medication. We're the masters of innovation, the masters of innovation. We're the masters of innovation, the masters of innovation.
Welcome everybody to the Masters of Innovation. Here with the cutting edge knowledge you need to combat COVID-19 inside your firm or in your organization. I'm Garrett Wagner, entrepreneurial CPA channel host, and I'm joined by just the man, the legend himself, jiu-jitsu master, master of everything, author, broker, master in cybersecurity law, Joe Brunsman. Joe, you staying safe today?
Staying safe. Watching as many jiu-jitsu videos as I can until my gym opens back up. And I'm looking forward to going back and getting choked unconscious. So can't come soon enough.
Very interesting. Joe's getting, Joe shared some jiu-jitsu videos with me before this. So if you want to touch base with on that, you can. So Joe, if we're not going to talk about jiu-jitsu, I thought today we could talk about something CPAs are dealing with all the time right now. We're having to deal with bankers more than ever before. And a lot of it's pushback because we got to help our clients. Our clients need to get these loans. They got to deal with the nuances of the payroll program. And we're functioning more as like they're blockers. They're kind of like jiu-jitsu people taking these bankers to the mats and wrestling them on behalf of our clients. To make a little analogy there, like we just talked about off the cuff.
Nice.
Joe, you got a master's in cybersecurity law. You do a lot of complex issues. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. How can we as CPAs better push back against these bankers and be advocates for our clients?
Number one, call them and tell them to do their job. Since this is a fun episode.
So you're just coming out strong to begin with, just like boom, right across.
Just coming out strong.
Okay.
So I think a lot of it has to deal with, the fact that, like I say, bankers are just dealing with kind of the public at large all the time. And so I think they generally just kind of default to worst case scenario, right? Kick it back, fix it yourself. I don't have time to deal with this. I'm dealing with, like 1,000 other applications at the time. And if it's anything that really is going to take maybe some like mental effort on their part, they're probably dealing with so many other cases at the time that they probably actually just need a CPA to kind of step in and maybe kind of grease the wheel a little bit, explain why, say like their small business loan application is detailed the way that it is, to try and, have it make sense to those guys without having it be too complex, without putting too much on their plate.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I've been amazed. Most of my time now after we did the initial applications has been talking to bankers, and every banker has some new crazy idea. Every bank has some new crazy idea out of left field on how these programs work, or they think they work. Mm-hmm. And it's been truly remarkable. You didn't think there'd be this much confusion. For me, I was trying to push back of advocate for the client and really center back on here's what the law says. And, I kind of push back to show me what you're talking about. Like, great, you're saying X, Y, or Z. You're saying this applies, it doesn't apply. You show me where that is. Mm-hmm. Where are they getting it from?
I think a lot of it is, you probably have kind of like the entry-level bankers that are tasked with all the intake of this stuff. So, obviously they haven't read the law, if I was a betting man, because that's a pretty extensive piece of legislation. So I would just assume that they're kind of going off like a cheat sheet that's given to them. Kind of like, not to disparage bankers, but kind of like when you go to the DMV and all they know is like what's on that sheet in front of them. And if it's anything, abnormal or outside the lines, as far as that cheat sheet is concerned, then they just give up, So that's where I think, having that CPA come in is actually really useful because, at least in my experience so far, it seems like a lot of the CPAs have really done a deep dive, and there's been a lot of information. It's really been like sucked up by CPA community to try and make this as easy as possible for their clients. So that it really does help when talking with the bankers. And the other thing too is that, banks are getting money from these loans as well. So it's not like they're doing this for free. So the easier we can make it on everybody, probably the the easier it's going to be to get that piece of paperwork through the line.
So Joe, to kind of sum up where we're at so far, number one, tell them to do their job. Which I like.
Yeah, I wouldn't start with that line on the phone.
Number two, though, just to rephrase what you said for number two, is be the expert.
Yeah.
Be confident that you're the expert on these issues and you're explaining to them of, no, here's how the program works. Here's the federal guidelines. Here's the frequently asked questions from the Treasury, from the FDIC. Here's the law. You go take care of this now on behalf of my client. And I think for me, number three that I've been coming back to is, threaten to bring the lawyer in. Banks getting sued left and right nowadays. No bank wants to get thrown with a class action lawsuit. I enjoy kind of throwing that out there every once in a while.
Sure. I would say I actually have done the same thing a couple times with insurance companies. Mm-hmm. Talking about, the probability that a jury would not agree with their assumption has definitely worked out. I tend to kind of keep that in the back pocket unless I absolutely need it, but it does work. It does work. Well,
I think that's kind of like that's what I said. That's number three, is that ultimate pushback is, and I've used it myself, like, yeah, we can organize a class action lawsuit against your bank, and happy to name you personally in this lawsuit. Like, let me get your name, Joseph E. Brunsman. Like, you can be first in line for this class action lawsuit. And that usually kind of gets them after a high horse and gets them to, like, push it up the chain. And you and I talked about that offline before. Sometimes you've got to also then push it up further levels in the organization.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. So, depending upon who you're dealing with, sometimes, you got to remember too, that maybe they're just having a bad day. Their kid was, up sick or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you just have to bring it up to the next level and explain, delicately that, hey, I think there's a misunderstanding here. This is what your guy was saying. This is what our position is. This is what we have to support our position, right? So getting back into, what the law actually says, if there's any interpretations of those laws that have been put up, and then explain that back to your own client's specific situation. And then just, try and work from there. Probably the only thing I probably wouldn't do is get really angry with them. Because you never really know what's going on in that world. So, you just want to use kids' gloves, but just assume, never attribute to malice, which you can attribute to, incompetence, actually.
Well said, Joe. I'm glad you said it, and I didn't have to say that one. But yeah, I think, right now this is a big part of our role, is helping our clients and just pushing back against these bankers and advocating for our clients, for them. So our clients, in a sense, can be the good guys, and we can be the bad guys in the situation, which for a lot of CPAs isn't a natural position. But I think it's, like you said, leverage that. Tell them to do their job, be the expert, and push back in the right way to bring in those lawyers if you need to.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, the bank makes money off this too, like we said. So it's in their best interest, right, to work within the confines. We're not trying to encourage any illegal activity here, but work within the confines of what we understand the law means and what it says in black and white, to really try and take care of our clients. And, part of this is with the understanding too that, the federal government is like a blunt instrument. It's not a scalpel. So I believe this legislation was really written in quite a hurry. So that, there are going to be situations legitimately where, it's not square peg, square hole. It's going to take some interpretation. It's going to take a little more work. And, just remember that banker, maybe that's his 1,000th application that day from a small business. So he's just looking at a pile of paperwork, this mountain that's sitting on his desk. And probably the last thing he wants to do is delve into some obscure corner of the statute there to figure out what it is you're talking about. So if you can come armed with that stuff, all the better for everybody involved.
And that's one of the good things about this is the payroll loan program isn't that in depth. There's not that many nuances like the tax code. It's pretty straightforward. So with that, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun, talk about how you can help push back against the bankers and advocate for your clients. So Joe, as always, thank you for sharing your knowledge, everybody. If you want help doing this, you want some tips, feel free to reach out to us. You can see both of us don't mind getting in there, throwing down with the bankers every now and then. As always, click to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stay up to date with our most recent videos. And we challenge you today to take action to change the world and invest in yourself.